So, hey guys, what is up? I'm so excited to talk to you guys tonight. Oh my gosh, I just love this show. There are a lot of good shows on currently, like this fall, but I think Scream Queens is my favorite. It's so good, it's so hilarious, and I love it. And last night was really good, and a lot of you are already in the room, so let me quickly say hey to you. If you haven't said hey to me in the comments, do that now so I can give you a shout out. So, hey, Jennifer, Mark, Tony, Reagan, Nisi. Think that's everyone so far. So let's just start first of all with you telling me, or I'll tell you what I thought about the episode, and then you guys can start telling me in the comments what you thought about the episode. And that ending though, I mean, we definitely need to discuss that and discuss if that means what I think it means, or if that's like a symbol for something, or what is up with that. But first of all, what I will mention is a lot of people are getting pointed out as possible red devils. But remember, if you were at my last show, or if you've watched that video or watched any of my Scream Queen videos, you will remember that I said the least likely person, the people who are not getting pointed out, are probably going to end up being killers. At least that's what I think. They'll end up being the red devils. And so far, Grace has not been mentioned at all. No one thinks she is evil in the slightest. So she's still my number one suspect. So what do you guys think? Who are you thinking right now for Red Devil? And then just what are your thoughts about last night's episode and this season in general? Hey, Amy. Hey, Aurora Summer, I guess. Hey, Deja. Zoe. Thank you guys so much for being here. I love chatting with you guys. It's so much fun. And honestly, we did this last week and a lot of you were here. And I feel like it's been a long time, but it's only been a week. So that's crazy. So what do you think? So, okay, Jennifer still thinks it's the dad. All right, so there was a little moment that made me doubt him being Red Devil, and that was the moment when Grace came up to him and basically confronted him, saying, you know, I think you're getting revenge, possibly because she thinks at this point that she's the bathtub baby. Now that she said that, I don't think she's the bathtub baby anymore because that's too obvious. But since she pointed out that he could be the killer, yeah, okay, Zoe, I like what you're saying. Since she pointed that out, that makes me think, oh, I don't know. I don't know if he is the killer. Will they be that obvious? Zoe says maybe it's someone who is super obvious and gets pointed out, but no one really thinks it's them. Okay, I kind of like that. I think we will, like I've said before, I think we will be so happy with however this ends up. Like, I think it's going to be a good resolution. And once we figure out who Red Devil is or who the Red Devils are, we're going to be happy. We're not going to be mad or be like, what the heck? Like, it's not going to be like the milkman or something stupid. Mark says Grace is still his number one suspect, too. Can't get over how that scene where she wears red glasses and carries a red coat. I think you sent me that on Twitter. Symbolism for Red Devil. Probably. I think that Ryan Murphy and Brad Falchuk, who put this show together, they're very smart, very detail-oriented. There were probably so many clues through each episode, and I watched them twice at least and still don't catch everything. So definitely. So Reagan says, we know that Gigi was the mom. Then, however, the baby is, I don't think, whoever the baby is, I don't think they're in on it. The question is, who is the baby? I don't think it's Grace. Kind of obvious. So are they basically telling us at the end of this episode that Grace is the mom, that she kind of went crazy, that she was like in that Shady Lane house? Not Grace, Gigi, that Gigi is the mom. Nisi thinks that Chanel is the bathtub baby. Really not a bad guess at all because we don't know much about her family. And she's obviously someone a lot of people don't like, but I think it's just I really think it's too obvious at this point for Grace to be the baby. So I don't think that she is the baby anymore. I think that's way too obvious. I know I missed some of your comments, so let me go back here and see. Yeah, Zoe's making a reference to, I think, the Scream movies when Audrey is the killer. Who played Audrey and which Scream movie are you talking about? I believe the last Scream movie, and I haven't watched these in a while, I think Emma Roberts ended up being the killer, which was cool. So who knows? She could end up being the killer in this because they want to kind of pay tribute to her role in Scream. I could see them doing that. Tony thinks Chanel was adopted. Yeah, I'm kind of getting that hint too that she was adopted, that she's most likely the baby. She's probably going to freak out. I don't think that she knows that she was that baby. She's probably going to freak out with that news, but maybe she does know, and maybe she's plotting something. You know, the show tries to make her seem like a very ditzy person who's not very smart, but maybe she's like a mastermind and she's plotting out all these murders, you know? That would be a really good twist because we think, oh my gosh, she's so stupid. And like I said, she ended up being the killer in Scream, and it was not obvious at all. So Tony says Chanel stated how her parents forgot her birthday. Okay. So yeah, I think there's definite possibility for her to be the baby. Now, do we think that she's also Red Devil because we think she's the baby, or some of you think she's the baby? I don't know. Another person I think could be involved is Denise, who is Niecy Nash's character. She's so over the top and silly and crazy, and we don't, I think, put a lot of thought into the fact that she could be like concocting all this crap that's going on, basically all this crazy stuff. But she's always trying to point the finger at Zayday. I don't think it's Zayday, but it seems like she spends a lot of her energy trying to be like, hey, look, it's this person, it's this person. And I'm wondering, you know, she sort of has a motive because we found out that she wanted to be part of the Kappas and they didn't want her like back in the 90s. But I don't know. Maybe that's too easy too. Zoe says she assumed that Grace was the bathtub baby as soon as the show started, but now definitely don't think she is. Exactly. I think the show wanted us to think she was, but after last night when she basically thinks she is and confronted her dad, I don't think she is. Now, I think it is very interesting, not just last night, but in the episode before, how Grace's dad keeps showing different horror movies to his class. I believe it was Children of the Corn last night. He made a statement. I'm not sure if you caught it, but he said like it was a big fear of people that the stuff that they do as a kid comes back and haunts them, or they have to pay for it as an adult. I think that's really important. I think that he is going to have something to do with all of this. And he was like terrified of a child killing a parent. Could that be foreshadowing Grace will have to kill him? What do you guys think about that? Niecy thinks that Chanel's the mastermind and has this scary thing about her, like when she hugged the girls or sharpened the knife. Very funny scene when she was sharpening the knives. Also a very like diabolical scene. And then she was hugging those girls and she did have like a weird look about her. So yeah, I could definitely see that. So Jennifer says Gigi could be the girl in 1995 who helped the bathtub baby. Maybe she kept the baby for herself. I was kind of getting that vibe. It seemed like, to go along with that legend that they were telling, that the person who was like stealing the milk and the baby dolls was someone who took the baby. Not necessarily. Yeah, she can't be the one who had the baby unless they're going to say this person didn't die because that person was dead, right? Yeah, and they buried her body. So I think it's very likely that Gigi had kind of a breakdown. I don't know, because she's like stuck in the 90s. She still is wearing 90s clothes and stuff. So I think definitely she is the one who raised this baby. And if this baby is Chanel, then it makes sense, Chanel number one, that it makes sense to me that she would want to come back and move into the sorority house to be close to her daughter, not her real daughter, but the daughter she raised. Maybe she just raised her as a kid, though, so she doesn't recognize her now. Maybe she just raised her for a couple of years, so Chanel number one doesn't recognize her. What do you guys think about that? I think that's totally possible. But again, I thought there were some really funny moments in last night's episode. To me, and I know you guys watch a lot of YouTube videos, I think that the very beginning was kind of making fun of YouTube. You know, some of the people, not the subscribers, but the people on here who are really, really popular, they'll have different contests where they will send like an iPad or a MacBook or something, and then like the person who wins will film themselves opening it or take a pic and put it on like Twitter or Instagram. I think they were making fun of YouTube people hardcore. And then when like Chanel went to visit some of the people who were her fans, to me that was like when some of the YouTubers visit their subscribers. I don't know. To me it was so funny. I just felt like it was totally making fun of YouTubers, and you know, even though I do YouTube, I thought that was really funny. So Niecy thinks that Gigi took the baby. Absolutely. And Tony thinks maybe Denise knew Gigi before all of this. Very good point, Tony. We know they were in school at the same time. Maybe they're somehow working together. Zoe was making fun of Taylor Swift. Okay. All right. I see that. I thought it was YouTube, but I see Zoe says it was making fun of Taylor Swift 100%. Okay. I totally see that. Yeah, that's cool. I didn't even think about that, but I see that now. All the references like Chanel and the toy car and stuff, and the fact that it was filmed, I get that now. I thought it was YouTube, but I thought it was a little bit of a stretch, but okay. So, you know, a lot of the stuff in here in the show is so, like, relatable, you know? That's what I love about it. Like, it's just little clues that are sometimes obvious, but not always obvious to everyone. And I love that. And there were just little things like, this is not relatable, but this was funny to me. The fact that they, the Chanels were eating cotton balls like in sauce for their lunch, that just totally made me laugh. I thought that was hilarious. And thankfully, Chanel number one decided they needed to eat pizza and not cotton balls because cotton balls is not real food. So anyway, but one of you, and I don't know if it's one of you in this room tonight, but one of you told me that you read an article where when they do the next season of Scream Queens, it will be a different setting and like possibly different actors and a different storyline, which I think is really cool. I think it's going to be nice to wrap up this storyline and then not try to drag it out. So it's not going to be like a Pretty Little Liars where we're trying to figure out who Red Devil is for 7 years. We're going to figure out who this person is or who these people are and move on. Scream Queens tweeted last night pretty much revealing that Boone is part of the, I guess, Red Devil team or something, because they were asking who we thought is helping Boone. Of course, we haven't seen Boone, who is Nick Jonas, since the first episode, so I don't know how big of a role he's going to play in this show, but we do know, I think, now that he is the one person who has been killed who really wasn't killed. Zoe loves how it's so funny, but it's a horror mystery at the same time. I love that. It's really not to be taken super seriously, but still we're trying to figure out like who the killer or killers are. So I love that about it. It's just so funny. Oh, okay. Tony says it was like the Taylor Swift out when she invited everyone to hear her 1989 album at her house. I actually watched a girl on YouTube who went to that and did a video. So yeah, that's really funny. Yes, Tony, I did hear about the ABC Family channel change. They're changing their name and Freeform. Is that it? I guess because they're not super duper family oriented now, I guess. I don't know if that's what they said or what, but that's interesting, definitely. Reagan said it would be funny if the costume in Pete's closet was really an obvious clue. And, you know, if you really pay attention to him, I can't really figure him out because he makes these weird faces, these like scary, mysterious faces all the time. And I'm like, okay, is he involved? Because he's such like the outside character. If you've seen the Scream movie franchise, he reminds me a lot of the two guys who ended up being the killers. He's got that personality and everything. So I don't know if they're going to try to do something with that or if that's just way too obvious because he's always making those faces, you know? Yes, I love the Chad and Hester almost relationship. That cracks me up. I love the fact that, like, Hester is not the person with the neck brace anymore, that she's all empowered and she's trying to steal Chad Radwell from Chanel. I thought that was hilarious. They both are kind of alike because they love the dead, but I think it's very obvious that they are not involved and they're not Red Devils, even though the show is trying to push us to think that they're suspects. I totally don't think that. So Reagan says if the baby wasn't claimed to be a girl, she would suspect Pete as Gigi's son, the baby in the tub. Yeah, Grace kind of already confronted him and thought that it was him. So I don't know, there's that. That might be too obvious. And I don't know. I mean, the woman from the sorority who is already dead, she could have thought it was a girl or made it up or who knows. Maybe she's right. So Mark says one of the 4 1995 sorority girls was said to be dead. And so what if the dean murdered the girl helping the mother in the bathtub, put the bags over the girl's head so they wouldn't notice, and then actually dumped her body? Okay. So I'm trying to follow you here. It is interesting that she put bags over their head, so they don't really know what happened. Let me think about say this again, because I'm trying to figure out what you're saying here. I get that you think the dean murdered the girl, but so you think the dean murdered the woman having the baby and she didn't actually die from childbirth? Is that what you're saying? So Jennifer says Gigi could be one of the Red Devils, one of the sorority girls back in 95. She's definitely one of the sorority girls. I think her name was Maggie. She was murdered. Maybe Gigi had the motive to kill her because of what happened in 1995. Okay, yeah, definitely. I definitely think, and I've said this before, that Gigi is involved. I mean, right now I still feel like the same people are involved. I think that Gigi's involved. I think his name is Weston, that character that is Grace's father. I think he's somehow involved, and definitely Grace, and possibly Chanel #1. You know what? They also tweeted, the Scream Queens account tweeted asking about, I guess it's Chanel #3. I don't really know. The girl with the earmuffs, they were asking like a couple of weeks ago. They're like, why does she wear earmuffs? And they still haven't revealed that. Do you guys have any ideas? Because she literally wears them in every episode, every scene. There's a reason for that. They just haven't said yet. But, you know, overall, I think it's so cool that it's really hard to figure out. And there's so many different suspects at this point. We've only had, what, 4 episodes, because the first episode was 2 episodes in one. Reagan definitely think a twist would be like you said, if Denise was involved, like I said, if Denise is involved, or if she actually solves this whole thing. Okay, that would be cool too, because honestly, I think a lot of the people in this show do not think Denise is very smart, or they don't really pay attention to what she says, and she's always trying to figure it out, and they're just like, whatever. So maybe she will figure it all out and should be the first one to figure out like who Red Devil is or who the Red Devils are. So that'd be really cool. She's kind of like, if you watch the Scream movies, she's kind of like Deputy Dewey, and I think he ends up like figuring things out eventually because he's a police officer and he's just kind of stupid and everyone thinks he's stupid, but then he knows things. Oh, thank you, Summer. That makes total sense now. Is that what, did you read that somewhere? She's saying, he or she, I'm not sure what your real name is saying that it's a tribute to her mom, Carrie Fisher, who wore the crazy braided things in the Star Wars movies. And I knew she was Carrie Fisher's daughter, but I didn't know that is why she wears the earmuffs. But that makes complete sense. Has she been on anything before? Because I don't remember seeing her. And I also have not seen this Chad Radwell guy, the guy who plays Chad Radwell. I think he's amazing. I was like Googling him last night. His name is Glenn Powell. And I like followed him on Instagram because I just think he's so cool. Obviously, I don't think it's cool that he's like a big jerk, but I just think he's really good with that role. So, okay. So yeah, she said in an interview there was a secret about them, says Mark. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if the secret is that it's a tribute or if there's, here we go. So Chanel number 3 did a BuzzFeed interview and said it's a shout out and a secret. Ashley, thank you, Ashley. So possibly there's another reason which deals with this show, why she's wearing the earmuffs, but it's also a tribute to her mom. That's really, really cool. Nisi says, what if Denise figures it out and gets killed? I could definitely see that happening. What has happened to Zayday? What do you guys think about that? Because we never really resolved. I think it's weird that she got kidnapped. Like, why didn't the Red Devil just kill her like everyone else? Is she going to end up being a part of this or what? Tony loved the Kate Hudson reference because the dad is her brother. Oh, yes, Oliver Hudson, right? That was cool. I really like that too. Pete was Matthew McConaughey and Grace was Kate Hudson. That was cute. I mean, there's just so many things, and sometimes I don't even know the things that is being, alluded to, basically. So I didn't even think about that. That's great, Tony. Didn't think about that at all. So yeah, if you catch something that you think is like a reference to something, let me know, because maybe I haven't figured it out, and I think that's super cool. I love how they do that. I think that's kind of like a trademark of Ryan Murphy, because since I've watched some of his other shows, he kind of tends to do that. Speaking of Ryan Murphy, American Horror Story is on tonight with Lady Gaga, and I'm going to be covering that show as well. Are any of you guys going to be watching? I'm so excited. I have watched pretty much all of those seasons. A couple of them I kind of thought I got kind of bored with it and gave up, but I've watched probably maybe all but 2 or all but 1. I didn't really watch last season. I got a little bored with it and kind of gave up. It might have ended up being great. I don't know. If you loved it, let me know. But since it's the same show creator, I thought that was okay to mention. So I'll be doing videos on that this week as well. And for that entire season, if you want to watch those, that would be awesome. So any other thoughts about last night's episode or any other theories? We still have several minutes here, so we still have more time to discuss your guys' theories. Yeah, about Zayday, Nisi says, not sure. Maybe they think she'll find out too much. I don't know. I was just really confused by that. So I didn't know why. I mean, he's been killing everyone. The only person who died last night was that sorority woman who we don't really care about because we don't know her. We just met her. I don't know if that's kind of like a message to us that Zayday wasn't killed. Like, is that saying she's working with Boone or something? I don't know. So Jennifer's from the UK and can't watch it live. Can you watch it on Netflix, though? I know a lot of people end up in the UK watching stuff on Netflix like the next day. But yeah, that sucks. Reagan thinks the devil not killing Zayday definitely means the devil has a clear motive, guessing the devils are wanting to lure their real targets that will come to rescue Zayday. Now, that is a really good point, Reagan. So maybe he kept her alive not because she's working with him, or this Red Devil could be a she, obviously, but because this is going to get people to come looking for her. Although Chanel number 1's like, oh, I totally don't care about her because she's mad because she's running for House president. Hi, Evangelia. Thank you so much for being here. Heard a theory that maybe the president from the previous year is the Red Devil. That was, so you thought that was cool. So the president from the previous year, is that the one that had the skin burning incident from the spray tan? And did she die or supposedly die? Zoe says, if Grace isn't the bathtub baby, then how come the Red Devil started when she came to the house? Yes, and that is a point that Grace made to her dad in yesterday's episode. And it seemed like all of this stuff started, with Grace moving and starting at this school. But the one thing that did happen before she got there was the incident with the former president, who I think was killed, right? Yeah, Nisi thinks the Red Devil started before. And then we had this whole incident with the baby in the bathtub. So, like, that may be the starting point or the reason. I think that is our reason for what is going on. But we don't really know who is doing it. But I think that's the motivation for it, the 1995 incident. Why did it take so long for people to start doing stuff? Probably because they weren't old enough. That has to be the reason, right? Because if somebody was wanting to get revenge right away about what happened in 1995, they, could have done it then, unless they were newborn. That kind of tells you, honestly, that it just seems like it has to be the baby is like the villain somehow involved in this, because why would they wait so many years? If they were one of the sorority sisters who was mad or somebody's boyfriend or whatever, they could totally act on that right away. Like, why would they wait all these years unless they're trying to get back at the baby or like do something to the baby who is one of these sorority sisters or one of these characters? I don't know. So Ashley says maybe the devils took Zayday to protect her in a way. Possibly. Completely possible. Maybe. Yeah, who knows? I mean, I still don't understand what Boone is doing. Like, why? I don't understand why he's working with them or whatever. No one, even mentioned him yesterday. So I don't know. Anyway, but I have a lot of high hopes about the rest of the season because I just love it. And I think even after the season's over, the following seasons are going to be really good. I just think it's a really, really good show and absolutely love it. Mark says, feels like the dean holds a lot more secrets. Yeah, she seems like a really evil person, to be honest, because she wanted to get rid of that person's body, the woman who had the baby. It's not like each season will be a continuation of the mystery. So Mark bets that Ryan will want Jamie Lee Curtis to have a killer role and not to waste her. Yeah, possibly. If you're a fan of the Halloween series, she was definitely not the killer. She was the victim. So, and the main star. So it would be interesting to see her in the opposite role. Unless she's going to be like, what's her name on American Horror Story and keep coming back and having big roles but not being the villain. And I can't even think of her name for some reason. But it's like the older lady who's on American Horror Story like every single year. Reagan is interested to know how the Red Devils are connected. Like, why Boone? Yeah, that's what I don't get. What did he have to do with this? She feels like it's going to all come together. Definitely will all come together, and I definitely think it'll make sense, and it won't be like, you won't be like, oh my God, what? This makes like no sense, okay? Jennifer says maybe he was blackmailed to pretend to be dead. No idea what's going on with his character. And I think it's hard to know what's going on with Boone because we don't really know much about him, and we don't see him at all. We only saw him in that first episode. Evangelia heard a theory that maybe the president, okay, wait, did I read that? Yes, the president from the previous year is the Red Devil. Also, did anyone get a vibe that Denise is going to end up being Zayday's mom? I don't know. Does Zayday say anything about her family life? I can't remember. Did she say she was adopted or something? Tony says, last week the dad and Gigi tried to set the dean up but failed since the police and the dean are working together. Okay, yeah. So they think that they totally thought she was the one who was in the Red Devil outfit and who like cut Grace's dad last week. And then at the beginning of this episode, they were again trying to make it seem like to the police that the dean was the villain. And she was like, no, absolutely not. And the police didn't buy it. So, hey, maybe it's overly, like, maybe it's so obvious that it's the dean that we think it's not the dean, that it is the dean. Is this making sense? That's what I'm starting to think. So Ashley says, doesn't feel like Grace's dad was as repulsive as he should have been when the dean was hitting on him at such an awkward time. Yeah, and she seemed to do that a couple of times. Like, she was flirting with him. What does that mean? Did they have something going on in the past? Like when he was, and was he a student there? Have we ever heard that? We know his ex-wife or dead wife was because she was in that sorority, but maybe there is a backstory there with the dad and the dean. That's a really good point. I like that. All right, so Mark thought that Denise could have been Zayday's mom. Zayday asked her why she was so obsessed with her, and Denise didn't really answer the question. She made a weird face and was cut off. Okay, that is very good. I did not get that impression, but I just didn't catch that for some reason. So, love it. Reagan is saying, could you explain the Denise flashback? I didn't really get it. Was she rejected from being a part of the sorority? Yeah, from what I get, she was trying to be a pledge of the Kappa sorority, and in like 1995, and the girls were like, don't you want to be a part of the African sorority? And she was like, no, I feel like a Kappa. And I think they didn't let her in. And then she said something about how she left that school and went to community college. I think that's what's going on. Evangelia, Zayday says her mom was in and out and her grandma raised her. Very good. I don't know why I didn't catch that. So yeah, her mom wasn't really in the picture. She could be Denise, definitely. Nisi wants to know if they have something going on now, meaning the dean and Grace's dad. Quite possibly. I think we're onto something there. I definitely think we're onto something. What if they are the Red Devils? Because you know how I mentioned it was so weird that the Red Devil just cut his arm when the Red Devil could have killed him? I think that's really suspicious. So Grace could be older, says Jennifer, than she is, because Grace mentioned that her birth certificate was burnt when her mom died in a fire. Absolutely. And at first, I really did think she was the bathtub baby because I felt like her dad was just lying about how old she was. So she could be the right age. Is that too easy, though, now that she thinks she's the bathtub baby and she confronted her dad about it? That's what we have to wonder. Like, are they going to throw out obvious things and make us think, like, that's so obvious that can't be true, but then at the end come back and that will be true? Or is it going to be the complete least likely people? Because right now, the very least likely person is definitely Grace. She's one of the very few people that anyone has ever suspected. So Tony would work, thinks it would work if Gigi and Denise were roommates, just like Zayday and Grace. Yes. So possibly, even though they don't act like it, Gigi and Denise have some kind of connection, and we kind of think Gigi is suspicious. Maybe Denise is working with her in a suspicious way. There also could be people working together in a good way. Like maybe Gigi is not that bad, but she suspects that Grace's dad is bad, so she's trying to act like she wants to date him just to get information, you know? I mean, that could totally be the case, and she could be working with Denise, who's with the police, who's investigating stuff, you know? Right, the dean would do anything to make the sorority close down, is what Nisi's saying. So, yeah, I mean, I think there's just so many different options here that it's so cool, and I just think that they won't go with like some total off the wall explanation. But I love how they're doing Halloween episodes when it is like almost that time here. I think Ryan was tweeting that there's like 2 more Halloween episodes, so I think that's going to be awesome. We have like 3 minutes left, so just a reminder, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, that would be awesome, because I'm going to do all of the episodes of Scream Queens. My Scream Queens video from the episode from this week will be live tomorrow on my channel. I'm also covering American Horror Story Hotel, which starts tonight, and How to Get Away with Murder, which is a really excellent show. You've only missed like the first season and a couple of episodes if you've never watched it before, and you've only missed a couple of episodes if you finished the first season. So it's really, really good. Ashley says, one doubt about Grace being the bathtub baby is because the mother is a brunette and Grace is very blonde. Well, she could have dyed her hair, though, right? I mean, that could definitely happen. I mean, you're right, because both parents are brunettes, but sometimes you can have a kid that has a different hair color, and then she could be dyeing her hair. I don't know. Just an idea. Reagan says it'd be interesting if one of the Red Devils was a twin of someone important in the plot, because there was obviously one baby, right? Yeah. We think there was one baby, but that would be interesting. Yeah, I definitely think there's probably just one baby, but someone could have a twin. That would be an interesting twist, and that would be a twist that, like, really, I don't think any of us could ever predict, except for Reagan. So if you end up being right, that's going to be amazing. Jennifer says this is actually her first live stream, and it's nearly midnight, and you always watch live streams the next day. Well, thank you so much, Jennifer, for staying up and watching that. That means a lot to me. I really appreciate it. And thank you for everyone who tuned in. It's about time for us to go. This is so much fun, and you always make the time go by so fast. Once Upon a Tara, right, is here. Just forgot about it. That's okay. And if you just, started watching this late or whatever, if you missed part of it, it will be up on my channel probably in like 15 or 20 minutes. So you really didn't miss anything except maybe getting to ask some questions. But we'll do this again next Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern. We'll do this every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the entire season of Scream Queens. And I just love it. And I love you guys for being here and for talking to me. And it's time to go. So I hope you guys have a great day or a great night wherever you are. And I'm going to tell you bye, but I will see you later. And tomorrow my video on Scream Queens will be up. So bye, guys. Have a great evening or day. Bye.